So this dawn that everybody's... Look, are you alluding to that the appointing authority... because if we look at all of these, just look at all of these institutions that then now bear the responsibility to hold some kind of standard for social justice are all appointed by the executive.
Okay.
EACC, NCIC, Police, Inspector General of Police, NCIC. These are all executively appointed commissions.
ODPP.
Yes. So now, I'm now trying to see if I can make a connection. Whereas in a democratic space, in a social justice space where all of these standards are upheld or should be upheld, it wouldn't matter who the appointing authority was. That the assumption was that this appointing authority understands and desires for the rule of law to be held sacrosanct. But that in this case, it would appear that all of these commissions, institutions that you've put independent before are actually not, by virtue of the fact of the appointing authority.
No, I wouldn't put it by virtue of the appointing authority, but the rigor of the vetting. You know, the appointing authority in Kenya only receives a list of names and then appoints. The vetting actually happens in Parliament.
That's not vetting that happens in Parliament.
That's the point.
It is people who sit down and people come and say things, and then we yawn and scratch and say, okay, is it lunchtime? That's what happens.
Yes, and that's a point. So we have a major institutional failure in the legislative branch.
But if we go back to the appointing authority, it's almost as though I've put it down on paper. But you know, we often talk about the things we see, but we don't talk about the things that we do not see or that are unsaid. That there seems to be an understanding amongst people that if this person is nominated, that from the beginning, remember we said that maize is not stolen in the granary, it's stolen in the field. So from the very beginning, you already know who my person is. So when that list comes, you go yawn and scratch in the vetting process. But this is the guy that we want. Can we just be honest?
No, that actually is the truth. I mean, we can't run away from it from the very beginning. Even when you look at the nomination lists for these authorities, it's the same people. Either they are former politicians, political affiliates. It's the same group. I mean, out of 53 million Kenyans, you can't tell me that we don't have fresh names and that they are fresh applicants who actually put in. But when the vetting is done and the shortlisting is done, it's the names that we can all recognize. It's never like a new person who maybe was working somewhere in the World Bank or something like that and then came in. So yes, I completely agree, and that's something that we really need to work on. You know, for the betterment of this country. This week, for example, we were talking about Vision 2060, for example. And there's a lot of debate, for example, on first of all, stock taking on Vision 2030 and where we have been. You know, we have policies, we have visions. Everything on paper is good in Kenya, actually, if you look at it. And if you look at the history of development planning in Kenya, everything is up to scratch in terms of what needs to be done. But if you look at, for example, Vision 2030, why wasn't Vision 2030 really working? Politicization of development planning. There are pillars in there, and the moral. If you look at Vision 2030 and you look at the moral, they call it the moral foundation. Rule of law, agreement where one people. That's a foundation. If you don't get the foundation right, it means when the cracks start appearing, the